So you've got this 2,000-year-old text, right? The Gospel of Luke. And inside, there's this hidden thread. It connects all these really dramatic, almost random feeling events. Today, we're going to find that thread, but we're going to use a surprisingly modern tool to do it. So let's dive in.
I mean, think about it. What in the world connects a farmer, a crazy storm, and a man possessed by demons? When you first read Luke chapter 8, it just feels like this jumble of stories. You've got a parable about farming, then bam, a deadly storm, then a man living in a graveyard, then a dying kid. It seems totally disconnected, but that's the puzzle we're going to piece together today.
Okay, so here's our secret weapon. The whole thing just snaps into focus when you look at it through a modern lens. We're going to use this framework called nonviolent communication. You might hear it called NVC. Think of it like a decoder ring, one that's going to help us unlock the real human story behind these ancient events.
So what is this NVC thing anyway? Well, at its heart, it's a way of communicating that helps you look past what people are saying or doing on the surface and helps you hear what they truly need. It's all about getting to those universal human needs that really drive us all. It's a tool for, you guessed it, a much deeper connection. And it breaks down into 4 really simple but totally powerful steps. You've got, first, observation, just stating what you see or hear, no judgment, just the facts. Then, feelings, how does that observation make you feel? Third, needs, what's the core universal need behind that feeling? And finally, a request, what would you like to happen? Observation, feeling, need, request. Remember that, because this 4-part pattern is literally the key to everything we're about to look at.
All right, let's put this into practice. We're going to start with our first story, the famous parable of the sower. Now, on the surface, yeah, it sounds like it's just about farming, but Jesus is super clear that it's actually about something else entirely. It's about how we listen, how we take in the world around us.
So, Jesus tells this simple story, right? A farmer goes out, scatters some seed, easy enough. But then he drops this challenge at the end. Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear. And you just know he's not talking about physically hearing sounds. He's talking about the quality of our listening. Are we actually ready to receive what's being said? And this is where it gets really interesting. The 4 types of soil, they're not just dirt. They're metaphors for our own internal states when we're trying to listen. Are we like the hard path where the message just bounces right off? Or maybe we're the rocky ground. We get all excited at first, but it doesn't stick. Or, and this one's relatable, are we the thorny soil, just so choked up with worries and distractions that nothing can grow? The goal, of course, is to be that good soil, the kind of person who can listen with an open heart. This idea, this quality of listening, it's the foundation for everything that's coming next. Okay, so keep that idea of listening in your head, because the story's about to take a sharp turn. We go from a quiet parable right into 2 super intense crises. First, a storm on a lake that's about to kill everyone, and then an encounter with a truly tormented man. These are moments of just raw desperation. And with our NVC lens on, we can see them for what they really are. Powerful, desperate cries about unmet needs. And here it is. This is NVC in action, just laid out perfectly. When the disciples scream, "Master, we're going to drown," that's not just an observation. It's an explosion of their feeling, pure terror, and it's pointing straight to their unmet need for safety. It's the same thing with the man from the tombs. When he begs, "Don't torture me," that's coming from a place of absolute torment. That's his feeling, and his deep, deep need for some kind of peace. See, these aren't just random outbursts. They are desperate signals pointing to a fundamental human need. And here's what's so critical about Jesus' response in both cases. Pay attention to this. He doesn't just zap the storm and make it go away. No, he first addresses the disciples' fear. And he doesn't just command the demons to leave. He actually engages the man, asks for his name, and connects with him as a person. In both stories, the human connection, addressing the feeling and the need, comes before he fixes the big, scary external problem. That's huge. This idea of connecting with the person's real need, it gets even more intense in our final story. So you've got this synagogue leader, Jairus, and he's in a complete panic. His daughter is dying. He needs help now. But on the way, the whole mission gets interrupted. Or maybe it's not an interruption at all. Maybe it's an invitation to make another one of these deep connections. I mean, look at this timeline. The stakes could not be higher. A little girl is literally dying. Every single second matters. And yet, right in the middle of this frantic rush, Jesus just stops everything. Why would he do that?
because he feels that touch and he refuses to let it be anonymous. He intentionally hits pause on his own urgent mission to find the person, to connect with her unspoken feeling of desperation, her profound need for dignity, and her silent request for healing. It's just, wow. And his response to her is just so incredibly powerful. He doesn't just say, okay, you're healed, moving on. No, he calls her daughter, which after 12 years of being an outcast must have been everything. That restores her dignity. He sees her faith, which validates her action. And then he gives her peace, which speaks to that deep core need for wholeness she's been missing for so long. He meets every single need, the one she spoke and the one she couldn't.
Okay, so let's zoom out. We've just walked through these stories using this NVC lens. What's the big picture here? What are the patterns? And more importantly, what does any of this have to do with our lives right now?
When you step back, the pattern is crystal clear, isn't it? Every single crisis we looked at, every single one, is driven by a really deep, unmet human need. A need for safety, for peace, for dignity. And the solution, the healing, it always comes from someone taking the time to connect with the person, not just attacking the problem. And that often means we have to pause our own urgent agenda and just listen. So, let's go all the way back to that first question we asked. What's the link between a farmer, a storm, and a man living in the tombs? It's not magic. It's not even the miracles, really. The thread that ties all of these stories together is this profound, radical attention to the fundamental human needs that are driving every single person in the story. And that leaves us with a pretty powerful thought to chew on, doesn't it? Because this isn't just some neat trick for analyzing an old book. It's a blueprint for how we can interact with each other, right now. Think about it. The people in our lives, at home, at work, so often, their anger, their frustration, it's just like that cry in the storm. It's a messy, loud signal for an unmet need. So the challenge for you, for me, for all of us is, what if we actually trained ourselves to do this? To pause, to listen past the noise, and to try and hear the need for safety or peace or dignity that's hiding behind it all. I mean, just imagine, what kind of storms could we calm in our own world?